His real name is Mark William Calaway, born March 24, 1965, better known by his ring name The Undertaker, is a retired American professional wrestler who is currently with WWE. The Undertaker began his wrestling career in the USWA in 1987, and then joined the World Championship Wrestling WCW in 1989. In 1990 the World Championship Wrestling did not renew his contract with The Undertaker, and in November of the same year Calaway joined the WWE, known currently under the name of WWF. The Undertaker is formally one of the biggest wrestlers in the WWE, and he is the only wrestler to appear on the first episode of Raw and is still working with the WWE to this day. He is a 7-time world champion, 4 times WWE Championship and 3 World Heavyweight Championship times, and won the Hardcore Championship, the Duo Championship 6 times. The USWA Texas Title Championship, the USWA Unified Heavyweight Championship, the 2007 Royal Rumble Champion. Wrestlers of the World. The Undertaker name is associated with several bloody matches such as the Inferno Dungeon, the Battle of Fire, the Ark and the Burial Alive matches. He is also now nicknamed The Phenomenon and is considered one of the greatest wrestlers in the history of wrestling and WWE alike. His professional career. The beginning of his career, 1987 to 1990. He appeared in the WCW Federation under the name Texas Red, wrestled and lost his first match against the wrestler Brother Brody, in 1988, a year after he left WCWA. After the Free Wrestling King of the Ring claimed the WCCW championships, he joined the CWA Federation, which later became the USWA. He wrestled with several characters, and on April 1, 1989, he obtained his first professional belt, the USWA Unified World Heavyweight Championship belt, after defeating Jerry, the King, Lawler, under the name Master of Pain. October 5, 1989 won the WCWA Texas Heavyweight Championship by defeating Eric Embry. His first known appearance was in the World Championship Wrestling when he was known there as Mean Mark Callis. He wrestled for the team, the Skyscrapers, with wrestler Dan Spivey and business manager Teddy Long. The team got into a feud against the Road Warriors, and managed to defeat them. Not in a match but when they beat them afterwards. At that time, no one had been able to control the Road Warriors before them, and it seemed that the Skyscrapers planned to get a strong push. But second team member Dan Spivey left WCW before the feud ended. Then, under Paul Heyman's direction, Calaway made his way through some wrestlers like Brian Pillman and Johnny Ice. His most famous match in World Championship Wrestling was his match against Lex Luger for the NWA United States Championship at the Great American Bash, in which he lost after Luger punched a clothesline on him and pinned him. The WWF refused to renew his contract after defeating Sting in a non-television match on September 1, 1990, at the house show. After that he wrestled in NJ for a bit under the name, Mean Mark Callis, until he signed a contract with the WWF in the late 1990s. His first enmities, 1990 to 1995. Undertaker appeared as a member of Ted DiBiase's team in Survivor Series 4 and appeared on his way to winning undefeated in the Federation for a whole year until he became the first candidate for the Hulk Hogan belt. A week later, after Undertaker ally Jake Harry lost his match to Randy Savage at Saturday night's main event, Jake attempted to hit the business manager and wife of Randy Savage with a chair, Eddie Singer, but was prevented from doing so, causing The Undertaker to turn into a likable wrestler in the script. He was defeated Undertaker Jake Roberts at WrestleMania 8. He then feuded with business manager Harvey Whippleman's wrestlers in 1992–1993. Perhaps the most notable of these feuds were against Kamala, who he faced and defeated in his first televised coffin match at the Survivor Series, and Giant Gonzalez, who The Undertaker also faced in WrestleMania IX, defeated him by DQ. And defeated him again by pinning at SummerSlam that same year. In November of the year 1993, The Undertaker challenged the WWE champion at that time, Yokozuna, to a coffin match at the Royal Rumble Festival. The truth is The Undertaker was suffering from a severe back injury, and he needed some time to rest. After WrestleMania X, which did not participate in The Undertaker, Ted DiBiase brought The Undertaker again, but he was not the real Undertaker. Who played this role was wrestler Brian Lee and was named after The Undertaker. The Undertaker reappeared at SummerSlam '94 after Paul Bearer announced his return before that. The match between him and Yokozuna, the coffin match, was replayed, and the well-known action actor Chuck Norris was guarding the ring to prevent any interference in the match. And indeed both King Kong Bundy and Bam Bam Bigelow tried, and Erwin R. Shyster did so but prevented them, and The Undertaker won the match after executing a big bot move on Yokozuna, dropping it into the coffin and sealing it. In 1995, The Undertaker entered into multiple feuds with Ted DiBiase and his cohorts. At WrestleMania 11, The Undertaker faced The Undertaker. King Kong wrestler Bundy, while Kama Mustafa stole the Undertaker jar that powers him, in the script, and turned it into a big gold necklace. As a result, the two faced each other at SummerSlam '95 to beat Kama in a coffin match and get his jar back. Several weeks later, The Undertaker sustained an injury to the brow bone near the eye, had an operation and was away from wrestling for a while, until Survivor Series returned. The Dark Lord, 1996–1999. With the entry into 1996, The Undertaker was in a confrontation with Bret Hart, and The Undertaker lost the match after Diesel entered Kevin Nash and hit him. To the end of this confrontation, a match was held between the two giants, and The Undertaker was able to defeat Diesel in one of the most beautiful matches of WrestleMania. The Undertaker then entered into a famous feud, which the fans loved very much and was eagerly waiting for its matches, and it was with the legend of the hardcore, Mankind, and they entered into strong and famous battles, including the match of the rooms, which was behind the scenes of the Union, and the winner reaches Paul Bearer first, and indeed The Undertaker was about to win the match, but betrayed by Paul Bearer. Mankind wins the match and Paul Bearer becomes Mankind's manager. The Undertaker did not calm down and entered another, Buried Alive, match with the Mankind and managed to defeat the Mankind and bury him alive. They played a third playoff match to end the enmity between them, and The Undertaker was able to win it. In 1997, The Undertaker won the Federation belt for the second time after defeating Seiko Sid. Then Paul Bearer appeared on the screen and announced that The Undertaker burned his family house and killed everyone who was in it except his brother, Ken, and said that he would bring Ken to take revenge on The Undertaker. The Undertaker played several matches against Farouk, Stone Cold and Vader. He played a match against Bret Hart for the Federation belt and Shawn Michaels hit him by mistake in that match. And The Undertaker lost the belt, and here he announced that he wanted a Hell in the Cage match against Shawn Michaels, and the offer was accepted. During the match, The Undertaker was close to winning. His brother, Ken entered and broke the cage door and made the tombstone or tombstone movement to win Shawn Michaels the match. After a few weeks, Paul Bearer asked The Undertaker to meet his brother, Ken, in a match, but The Undertaker refused every time and said that he would not beat his brother or stand in front of him in any match. The Undertaker played against Shawn Michaels in a coffin match. Kane interfered, and The Undertaker lost the match. Ken burned the coffin in which The Undertaker was, but when the coffin was opened, they did not find The Undertaker in it. After 2 months of absence, The Undertaker came back more fierce and defeated Kane in their first match after performing 3 moves of his famous tombstone.
وفي النهاية أرجو أن أكون قد أوصلت المعلومة بسهولة ويسر. لا تخرج قبل أن تشرفنا بوضع بصمتك. لا تخرج قبل أن تشرفنا بوضع بصمتك. ولكم مني جزيل الشكر والتقدير. في حفظ الله.